Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the 12 Minute Talks podcast. I'm excited to have with us today Jonathan Palmer. He creates electrifying content that can transform your presence on LinkedIn. Jonathan, thank you so much for being on today.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. And to tell a little secret, we actually did like another podcast, but I felt like it didn't really speak to what I was passionate about.
Right.
Um, who looks attractive when they're going through puberty? When they're going from their childlike state into adulthood, it's a little bit awkward, and in a very similar way, it's been a little bit of an awkward transition. And but the biggest challenge is doing it in front of such a large audience. So I've spent the last few months kind of finding myself, finding what I'm really passionate about, and what I love to do. So.
Yeah, so you took the words right out of my mouth. I was gonna give a little intro about that. So tell us a little bit, for those that don't know, you used to do forensic
Forensic
investigation, which
accounting, yeah.
I thought it was interesting. I'm like, here I'm interviewing Inspector Gadget, but
You know
you
what?
know,
It,
so
it,
tell us
it,
a little bit about your transition into doing something that you're more passionate about, with the digital videos that you create for LinkedIn.
yeah. So again, there's nothing wrong with forensic accounting.
Yeah.
It's just maybe I just wasn't as passionate about it. But there are people that absolutely love it. I went to a LinkedIn local Miami, and there's a guy that loves Microsoft Excel. Like, he loves Excel spreadsheets. So everybody has their thing. But I don't think that I was particularly talented as a forensic accountant. And you only start recognizing that when you try something else, and
Yeah.
you just kind of get a hand, you get a hold of it, you try it out, and it's just such a natural fit. So that's kind of what's happened. To give a little bit of history, I've worked for my father. He owns a forensic accounting firm, and I've been there for 5 years, a little over 5 years. And around October of last year, we went through a rebranding, and that's when I was kind of introduced to social media. Like many, I was a lurker. I would consume a lot of content, but I wouldn't create my own.
Hmm.
So the benefit of growing up with social media is we're all, very properly trained to know what works, what doesn't. So when I started executing on it, it was like overnight, it just started working.
Awesome. Yeah, and it's true what they say. You don't really know if you like something until you start doing it. And I think it was maybe a natural fit to go work with your dad because he was in that industry. I could imagine, right? But
The
it's
way
great
that
that.
happened, sorry to
Yeah,
cut
yeah.
you off. I had no ambitions of being a forensic accountant. What happened was I was bartending on South Beach. I must have been in my early 20s at the time. Bartending in South Beach. It's Christmas Day. I'm working overnight. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning, Christmas Day. This drunk woman comes into the bar, and I refuse to serve her because I'm not going to jail for her to drink another drink on Christmas.
Yeah.
So she starts throwing plates at me. I got my face cut up pretty good, and then mommy and daddy were like, you know what? Come work for the family business. Put that bartending behind you. But again, was it ever a proper fit? Not so much. So
Right,
we got
right.
yeah.
It's like I was listening to Brene Brown. She has an audiobook called The Power of Vulnerability. And towards the end, it's kind of long, but she was talking about people that have slash careers, where it's like, you pay your bills doing accounting, for example, and slash you do like candles on the weekends, right? So I'm glad to see you jump into the slash career, which is what we're gonna really talk about today more. So Jonathan, tell me what type of electrifying content it is that you help create others. And you mentioned when we were talking before that now you're working with Shay Rowbottom.
Yeah, so to give a little bit of a background on that, I approached Shay in around December of this past year. And this is the importance of mentors, right? When you're just starting out, you don't know really what works, despite the fact that I said, it was a pretty easy transition. You understand the basics, but you don't have it all. You don't have all the tools yet. So I reached out to Shay because I wanted help on creating effective content that will reach, my target market, which at the time was accountants, CFOs, what have you. And it was just a fateful day in late December. I was really passionate about posting something, And the old man said, you know what, like, this doesn't really fit the company image. Why don't you just post it on your own page? At the
Right.
time, I didn't have my own LinkedIn page. So I posted it on my page. It did all right. But Shay was kind of the unlock of figuring out how can I take this message and make it better, more effective, and help me grow based off of that. So I guess I already had a little bit of the natural talent that's necessary, but she helped refine it and honed it so that I could really develop that. And I've been working with her ever since.
Yeah. Awesome. And so now, are you helping other business owners create their own content?
To some degree, right now we're still in the early stages, but I will get a lot of inquiries from business owners, executives, and what I'm finding and what's super interesting is there's a lot of self-doubt. There's a lot of self-doubt. There's a lot of people that want to say something, they don't know how to say it. And I
Right.
find that a lot of times they just need the confidence to recognize the fact that people do want to hear what they have to say. But paralyzed,
Yeah.
especially within my industry, people are so risk averse because that's what they do for a living. They
Hmm.
don't want to take those risks, whether for their business or for themselves, their reputation. So they play it very safe. But something that I've recognized is you have to kind of get out of your comfort zone and do the kind of content that not only do people want to see, but it really speaks to who you are as a person. And I feel like that's when it really becomes effective.
I think that's important, yeah, because people buy from people, they don't buy from a company, you know? And I think video is definitely a great way of getting yourself out there, that people can relate to who you are and maybe what you do and things like that. And yeah, definitely get out of your comfort zone. You know, what's the worst that can happen? 10 people watch it, who cares? Like, you
Yeah.
know, you never know who's watching out of those 10 people. It could be your
You know
next
what's
referral
interesting is
contact.
it's not so much the 10 people that are watching, it's their friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
And what you find that happens in a lot of these cases, it's happened to me. The people that are closest to you are the first ones to jump on it and say things like, "Oh, you've changed. Oh, well, why are you publicizing this? What are you trying to be?" You know, they
Right.
almost feel like you're not being yourself anymore. But really, all it is you're just trying to grow. You're
Yeah.
trying to kind of expand your horizons. But anytime people make change, especially those closest to you, they get a little nervous, they get a little
Right.
tense. So that's been an interesting discovery on the journey. So
Yeah, that's cool. I've had the opposite, I think, from my friends that I've been posting more video stuff because I'm like, well, I like to say you have to wear a lot of different hats every now and then.
yes,
So,
yes,
I've been posting more videos about what I do, and some friends have been like, I think it's great you're doing that because I see you like getting out of your comfort zone to do that, So,
which is
and you never know. Yeah, go ahead.
those are the people you want to be surrounded by.
Right. Yeah, yeah, for sure. So what's something that sets you apart from maybe others that, you know, a lot of times people say, I wish I could do XYZ job, but this is what pays for the bills. What do you think is something that really sets you apart from others that maybe never make that jump?
So when I was growing up, I remember every 9 weeks, um, my father and I would get into a battle because I'd have bad grades.
Mm-hmm.
I was bullied a lot as a kid for my interests, for the way that I was. I was just a really awkward kid. So not any physical bullying, but like maybe a little bit of emotional bullying at home
Right.
and in school. And I felt like a failure. I felt like everything I'd ever done, I'd failed at. And that developed a strength in me. I was not a good student. I was a terrible student. And I wasn't good at sports. So when you're not really good at anything, you start having a mindset of, well, I failed at everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So it can't get worse than this. So
Right.
literally anything that I do is better than where I am right now. And once I gained that perspective, I just started doing whatever I wanted to do. Whatever, I felt in my heart was effective. So a lot of that judgment disappears when it's like, it can't be worse than this. So
Yeah.
that gave me a lot of the courage to just go out there and do what interests me. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I'm glad you continued because I've seen your videos progress, let's say, and you made one about like introverts, and I thought that was hilarious, you know, and especially now with like the COVID-19, there's all these jokes about like introverts, and it's like how they've been planning for you know,
It's
like
introverted disease. Yes, it's
yeah,
like
yeah, you know, like stay
their
home.
lives don't change. They're just like, all right, well, I guess it's just another Monday today, you know? So,
Right,
yeah.
right. But I really like your perspective of, you know, what's the worst that you've already failed in your mind, I guess, right? So what's the worst that could happen, you know?
It's
Um,
free, gives you freedom. So,
a lot of times people think creating videos is just, oh, put the camera and start talking. No, you have to like,
I mean, some do,
some
and some
do,
people are
but
great at it, but it's not for me. I can't do that.
you know, yeah, especially if you have a message you want to come across concise, professional, whatever the case might be, it might take you half an hour, 45 minutes just to write out what you want to say for 2 minutes, you know,
Absolutely.
depending on everything, you know, and then editing a video takes so much time, you know. Awesome. So Jonathan, how can people get in touch with you? I'm sure on LinkedIn they can find you and
I'm only on LinkedIn. It
okay.
eats up it eats up all of my time. So you could definitely send me an email at john at shayrowbottom.com if you have any interest in creating and developing video content. I definitely recommend that. And yeah, you could also go to shayrowbottom.com, schedule a call. You know, we'd love to help you. Something cool about LinkedIn is, and I'm sure you've experienced this as well, is it's kind of like a utopia. People want to help each other. So this is very much the same. Like, we're here to help people develop their message because right now is the time to do it. So that's how you can reach me.
Definitely. Awesome. Yeah, there's definitely been a big change in LinkedIn. I've been in it since like 2008 when I was at FIU.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And let me tell you, back then it was all like spammy messages. I'm like, what is the point of this thing? But I've always kept it up to date or whatever. But I've seen the change now with all the video and people really honestly trying to share valuable information on there. And I just wanted to quickly introduce myself for those of you that don't know who I am. I'm Lorena Tomasini, and I'm the owner of MALM, MALM, Life and Health Insurance Agency, where together with my mom, we help other businesses and families with their financial protection needs done digitally, which is great now with all this going on. Um, Jonathan, is there anything else you would like to add today?
Don't be afraid. If you have a message inside of you, don't keep that quiet. You would be amazed at how much people want to hear what you have to say. So have the confidence to recognize that you do have a message. Just speak your mind, speak your heart. When you really speak your heart, people will not reject that. They can feel it. So don't be afraid to do so.
That's awesome. Jonathan, it's been great having you on the 12 Minute Talks podcast today. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.